The United States Army eliminated 6 Iranian boats in the Strait of Hormuz, and the crisis has now reached the most dangerous point in the maritime dispute with Tehran. On Monday, May 4, 2026, the action took place while Central Command was trying to open a safe route for commercial ships within Project Liberty. The boats, linked to Iranian forces, reportedly advanced against ships protected by the United States at the same time that drones and missiles were also launched against the American operation. The response was swift. Apache and Seahawk helicopters struck the 6 vessels in a direct message to the Revolutionary Guard that the passage will not be surrendered to fear. I'll tell you all about that in a moment. But right now, you'll want to be subscribed to the channel to stay well informed, with real-time information at the highest journalistic quality ever seen, with the credibility you expect from Milson Alvis. According to Admiral Brad Cooper, commander of the United States Central Command, these boats were not just moving around the area. They were part of an Iranian attempt to interfere with the progress of Project Liberty, which aims to guide merchant ships through a reinforced security area in the waters of Oman. The operation was set up after weeks of an Iranian blockade, with hundreds of vessels stopped in the Persian Gulf and thousands of crew members without a clear way out. The American order was simple: protect the civilian ships, open the corridor, and prevent small armed vessels from turning the route into a maritime trap. The main point is that the 6 boats were treated as an immediate threat. Central Command stated that Iranian forces launched cruise missiles, drones, and small boats against ships under American protection. Cooper stated that the threats were defeated with the precise use of defensive munitions. In plain language, Washington is saying that those boats crossed the line. They were not ordinary boats lost at sea. They were part of a calculated pressure to test how far the United States would tolerate Iranian intimidation in the Strait. So far, there is no official confirmed death toll from the 6 Iranian boats. American military sources confirmed the destruction of the vessels, but did not provide a public count of casualties. This is important because in a naval crisis, the absence of this number does not lessen the significance of the incident. The main fact is that the American Navy moved from a state of alert to direct action against vessels that, according to Washington, were threatening commercial ships. From then on, the message changes its tone. Iran may try to use speedboats to menace traffic in the Strait, but now every aggressive approach can receive an immediate response. These speedboats are part of a well-known tactic of the Revolutionary Guard, using small, fast, and hard-to-track boats to surround, threaten, or pressure larger ships. Instead of confronting a destroyer head-on, Tehran usually relies on speed, numbers, and provocation. It's a war of nerves at sea. One speedboat appears, another approaches, and a third tries to cut off the route. And the goal is to create enough confusion to disrupt trade, raise the risk for insurers, and convince shipping companies not to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It was this kind of pressure that Project Liberty tried to break. The Strait of Hormuz is at the center of this dispute because it connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. Whoever controls the passage controls part of the pressure. This comes as 2 merchant ships flying the American flag managed to cross the strait and continue their journey. Central Command presented this breakthrough as the first proof that the corridor can work. At the same time, Iran denied that commercial ships had crossed the area and also denied the loss of the vessels. This clash of narratives is typical in moments of military confrontation. One side tries to show control while the other tries to avoid looking defeated. But the operational fact weighs against Tehran, because the passage was announced by the United States, the corridor was activated, and the American command publicly warned that Iranian forces should keep their distance. What these boats were actually doing was trying to disrupt the opening of the route. They entered the scene when Washington was trying to move ships protected by a larger structure, with destroyers, helicopters, aircraft, drones, electronic warfare, and submarines. The American idea is not just to escort one ship at a time, but to create a broader protection area with several layers of defense to prevent Iran from picking an isolated target and using the crossing as leverage. The response with Apache and Seahawk helicopters shows that the United States decided to quickly confront the tactic of the speedboats. These aircraft are used to monitor movements at sea and respond to nearby threats without relying solely on the large ships. In Monday's incident, according to the American report, they were responsible for sinking the 6 vessels. The objective was not to occupy territory, nor to expand the war on land. It was to prevent small Iranian units from attacking or blocking civilian ships during the reopening of the Strait. The reason for the action is also related to the risk to human life. Project Liberty was presented by Trump as a humanitarian operation to rescue vessels and crews trapped in the region. According to estimates cited in the international press, more than 850 ships and about 20,000 sailors have been stranded in the Gulf since the effective closure of the route. In such a scenario, every Iranian speedboat sent to intimidate vessels doesn't just put pressure on Washington. It puts pressure on workers at sea, shipping companies, crew members' families, and nations that depend on the energy that passes through Hormuz. History has already shown that speedboats can become a serious problem when they are used by forces trying to make up for naval inferiority with provocation and mass attacks. On April 18, 1988, during Operation Praying Mantis, the United States Navy faced Iranian targets in the Gulf. The Persian Gulf, after the frigate USS Samuel B. Roberts was damaged by a mine. In that confrontation, fast Iranian vessels also joined the fight and attacked commercial targets. The American response was tough and left a historic mark. When Tehran tries to turn the sea into a tool of coercion, Washington usually responds to restore freedom of navigation. Other nations have also faced this kind of threat at sea. Sri Lanka dealt for years with small fast boats of the Sea Tigers, the naval wing of the Tamil Tigers, who use speed and swarm attacks against larger units. In the Red Sea, forces linked to the Houthis also began using boats, drones, and improvised naval means to threaten trade, leading the United States and its allies to expand maritime protection missions. The pattern is always similar. Groups or regimes with less conventional capability try to make a route expensive, unsafe, and politically explosive. The response from the stronger navies is to deny them that space before fear turns into a blockade. Now the next step will be decisive. If the Liberty Project manages to keep the corridor active, more ships are expected to try to leave the Persian Gulf via the route through Omani waters. But shipping companies still tend to act cautiously because the area remains dangerous, with warnings about mines that have not been fully neutralized near the traditional routes. This means that the elimination of the 6 speedboats does not end the crisis. It only opens the next phase, testing whether American protection will be strong enough to convince commercial shipping to return. For Iran, the loss of these 6 vessels is more than a tactical setback. It's a sign that the strategy of intimidation with speedboats has encountered a direct barrier. For the United States, the operation becomes a showcase of control. 2 merchant ships passed, threats were intercepted, and hostile vessels were neutralized. For the Revolutionary Guard, the dilemma narrows. If they retreat, they lose the narrative of dominance over Hormuz. If they persist, they risk seeing other units destroyed in full view of the world. And now the crisis hangs on a heavy question. Will Iran accept losing its grip on the route through fear, or will it resort to further provocations? Further provocations against a navy that has already shown it does not intend to back down. I'm Milson Alves, an international affairs specialist, and my purpose is to keep you accurately informed every day. The news links are in the video description. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and at the end, check out the comments so you can be even more engaged with the Milson Alves community.